What's up, guys? I wasn't planning to talk about fraud today. I was planning to make a sandwich. Then I found a guy who sold the Eiffel Tower, then another who sold the Brooklyn Bridge, and one who sold an entire kingdom. So yeah, screw the sandwich. Let's start with this guy. Gregor MacGregor, a man with a chin sharp enough to cut wallets from pockets. It's 1820. London's gleaming with stolen wealth, itching for a fresh fantasy to colonize. And Gregor shows up calling himself the Cazique of Poyais, which roughly translates to, I made this up on the boat ride. He claimed Poyais was a tropical paradise, gold in the rivers, marble cities, an opera house humming in the jungle. And they believed him, because humans, my friend, are just apes who got cocky. They bought land deeds, government bonds, and even the tickets for the voyage, because due diligence was just a thing you yell before jumping into lava. 250 bright-eyed Brits packed trunks, wore hats, set sail for Poyais. One guy even brought wine for the opera. Everyone thought they were heading to utopia. What they found was jungle, swamp, malaria mosquitoes with machetes. The marble city was a beach, not a beachfront, a literal beach, like sand. And the opera house? Trees, which to be fair have great acoustics, if you're screaming. Now here's the best part. Half of them died. The rest had to be rescued by a ship that happened to pass by. They didn't even care where it was headed. Anywhere's fine, as long as it has toilets. After killing 100 people with a fake country, most folks would lie low, change their name, and maybe open a cafe called Poyais and Pastry. But my man thought laying low meant lying louder, so he launched a sequel in France. This time, he added pyramids, because if you're already lying, you might as well throw in some dead pharaohs for flavor. But it didn't go that well. He got arrested, briefly. Then they let him go, because French law is allergic to follow-through. And you know what? Turns out Poyais does exist, right off the Caribbean, just below the belt and deep inside a long, echoing oops. Our next con man is Victor Lustig, a man with a grin sharp enough to cut ambition at the knees. It's 1925. Paris is broke and the Eiffel Tower is rusting, desperate for repairs. Lustig posed as a deputy director general, which meant, I printed this badge in the hotel. He invited top scrap metal tycoons to a top secret auction. The item for sale? The Eiffel freaking Tower. When they asked why, he said the tower was too expensive to maintain, too symbolic, too tall. And they believed him, because humans, my friend, are just raccoons in pants. The buyer's name was André Poisson. Poisson means fish in French, which feels cruel in hindsight, because my man filleted him with a fake ID. His next stop was America, the land where scams come true. There he dropped his masterpiece. The Money Box. A varnished wooden atrocity that looked like a briefcase and a toolbox had a deeply regrettable night. Apparently this monstrosity could duplicate $100 bills, just needed 6 hours for each bill. And it worked, because Lustig loaded it with a real bill before the demo. The Mark watched it print, nodded like he just met his soulmate, and begged to buy it. By the time 6 hours passed, Lustig was long gone, and the poor buyer was left cheering the box like it was in labor. But now comes the peak, the crown jewel of Lustig's scams. Scamming Al Capone. Yes, that one. Scarface, bootlegger, human meat grinder. Scamming Capone is like giving wedgies to bears, or calling your dad's new wife mom on day one, or telling your girlfriend you look just like your mom. In bed, Lustig went to him with a pitch. Give me 50 grand, I'll double it in 2 months. Now, you'd think he'd take the money and vanish. Lustig did the opposite. 2 months later, he shows up with the entire 50 grand, untouched, said the deal didn't work out, and Capone, killer, kingpin, sentimental fool, hands him 10 grand as a reward for honestly returning money he never intended to double. Which reminds me of my grandpa who used to say, if you ever steal from a killer, make sure you do it politely. He also believed pigeons were spies, but still, wise man. Our next man is George C. Parker, a man with a mustache sharp enough to cut firewood in a monsoon. It's the late 1800s. America's booming, and immigrants are pouring in desperate to buy a piece of it. Parker forged deeds, rented an office, and sold the Brooklyn Bridge to immigrants, repeatedly, sometimes twice a week. He told them they'd own toll booth rights on the bridge. And they believed him, because humans, my friend, are just meat with delusions. And when they tried to install toll gates, the cops showed up. Sir, you do not own the Brooklyn Bridge. No, not even half. Parker wasn't running a scam. He was running a real estate empire. Grant's Tomb, Madison Square Garden, the Statue of Freakin' Liberty. One time, he sold the Metropolitan Museum of Art to a tourist for $100,000. Also, my man operated in many identities. He once posed as a dead president's grandson. He just coughed, looked patriotic, and people saluted. Another time, he was a bishop of a religion he made up in line at the bank. He forgave sins, then sold them land. He wore so many hats. It's a miracle his neck didn't snap from the weight. But eventually, Parker got caught. Turns out, you can only sell national monuments so many times before the government starts taking it personally. He was sentenced to life at Sing Sing prison, where he spent the rest of his days singing his scams like lullabies to the inmates. Alright, I'm gonna go find my sandwich now. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you again.